Hey everyone, it's Lucas, your Saturday Squishy Transpeep. Um, we are on week 7, the topic being how did your friends slash family react to your transitioning, or how are they reacting? So, I'll start with friends first, because I started coming out to friends before my family members. Actually, I started coming out to strangers first, because around the time that I was beginning to socially transition, I was starting to go to the U of M. So I was meeting a lot of people and thus just introducing myself to them as Lucas. So that was really, really easy. A really good foundation of a community that didn't know anything about who I was before I began transitioning, which helped me a lot when I started coming out to people who knew me for significantly longer, like some of my friends from high school or friends that I made in the Fargo Moorhead area when I started coming out to them. There, a lot of responses I had gotten from uh, friends prior to my transitioning were positive. And I'm trying to think if there were any examples of uh, negative reactions. Um, there were some that were confused, very confused, particularly an ex of mine. But that is a completely different um, topic to go on. But other than that, for the most part, after explaining a little bit about what was going on, especially with my identity, then responses were good. And as far as my family was concerned, I only told my immediate family in person. My immediate family, meaning uh, people who I consider to be like the definition of family when I think about uh, what my family means in my heart. That's who I told in person. And um, that would be like people on my mom's side of the family for the most part. And their responses were all supportive. Um, some were adjusting, um, especially in the beginning. Pronouns were messed up, and the name certainly was messed up. Even it's still kind of in that same boat where the pronoun will occasionally slip up. Like last night, I went to see a high school production of Anything Goes with my grandpa and my mom and one of my mom's good friends. And my mom and my grandpa were mixing up the pronouns. Um, and my mom mixed up uh, the pronoun thing once this morning, but she quickly corrected herself, which is fantastic. And she apologized for it, which she kind of always had apologized when she realized that she messed up. Um, but yeah, my mom definitely my biggest supporter, like my rock, as always. Like that won't change. Um, let's see. Like extended family members, the family members who I don't see really that much. If I even get to see them once a year, I did not tell them in person. I just told them like I told a lot of other people through Facebook. One, because it's conveniently easier for me for a number of reasons. And two, I don't know, like I it's not like they don't care about the responses because, it's good to hear their I guess opinion on it, if that makes sense. But at the same time, it's more important to me that I live my life as my authentic self, or at least try to get closer to my authentic self as I possibly can, than be entirely conflicted about what other people think, especially those that I don't interact with very often. So, let's see. Huge negative response from my father to the point of which he stopped talking to me. And I know some people have heard this quite a bit from me, especially revolving around the play that I was just in which I talked about how my experiences with my father related to my character's experience with their father. But it's true. Like, that's not something that I just like will stop talking about, because that is what happened. The experience with my dad when I told him that I was trans was the huge negative impact, the huge what I thought was really like the final straw in our like trying to reestablish some sort of relationship, whatever what was trying to be established back then. And like I told him a year ago, like in February of last year, and there has been no contact since. So yeah, other than that, at least on my father's side, my younger brother uh, supports me, even though I don't hear from him very often. My older brother, definitely a support as well. Definitely seems to understand, even though he might not know as much about the trans community, but you know, even, which is kind of peculiar because like even though we've never like met face to face, like he's still like 100% supports me as his brother, and that is pretty amazing. And yeah, so I'm trying to think other the last person in my family that I told was my grandpa, because in the spring of last year, my grandmother was dying of a tumor in her brain, and it was a really difficult time for everyone in the family, like absolutely everyone. And I told my aunts and uncles about the situation with me transitioning, especially because I was starting to go into like I was trying to get my letter to start tea by the end of the summer. So I told my aunts and uncles at that time, but I didn't tell my grandpa until this past Thanksgiving, a couple of months after I started tea, because when it was time, grandma had died in July. Some time had passed, that things were starting to calm down in the family, and I wanted to tell him before the changes made it really obvious that nothing could be done except have a huge confrontation. I wanted to avoid that. And plus, you know, my grandpa has been pretty much a huge father figure to me, so I figured that I would at least be brave enough to tell him face to face, and that's what I did over Thanksgiving. And his reaction was supportive. And funny thing was, when my mom told him later that night about my dad's reaction, he was just like, "That son of a bitch, he was never any good." So, you know, it's also kind of amazing that my 89-year-old grandpa loves and accepts me, and my 53-year-old father just won't try to understand. I don't know. It's definitely huge generational gaps between the both of them, and the huge like reactions from them regarding me are just opposite ends of the spectrum, honestly. So, for the most part, I am extremely lucky and extremely blessed to be surrounded by so many people who love me and accept me no matter what, and that I know I am very aware that a lot of other trans people don't have that. I know that because I have friends who, like, their families won't even talk to them anymore. I have some friends who have a very rocky relationship with their family because of that. I'm I'm considered to be very lucky, despite, having the name and pronoun things slip up. Despite that, I'm very lucky. So yeah, I'm just surrounded by a lot of love. And if you need me to give some of that love to you, if you aren't so lucky, I'm happy to give you, an internet hug or a hand heart. I'll give you a hand heart anyway. So, yeah, that I believe is all that I have to say on this topic, on families and friends' reactions. So until next Saturday, I hope you all have a good week and try not to get sick. Winter is very harsh.